Hey everyone, this is Gary. As you know, I'm out of town this week, so instead of doing an encore episode, I'm doing something a little different. This week, I'll be running full encore episodes as they were originally released, and then at the end, where I normally read a review, I'll be providing an update to the episode. So make sure to stay tuned all the way to the end of the episode. This episode was originally released on September 6th, 2020. And you might notice that the sound is a bit different, as my recording setup at the time was very different than it is today. So with that, enjoy the incredible story of the 2-hour marathon.
Eliud Kipchoge is unquestionably the greatest marathon runner in history. He's won an Olympic gold medal, holds the world record, and has won 12 of the 13 marathons he has ever entered. However, there was one accomplishment that had always been out of reach for Kipchoge and every other marathoner: the 2-hour marathon. On October 12, 2019, Kipchoge managed to break that barrier under some very special circumstances. Learn more about what went behind the breaking of the 2-hour marathon on this episode of Everything Everywhere Daily.
This episode is sponsored by newspapers.com, your passport to untold stories and hidden histories. As the largest online newspaper archive, newspapers.com offers an incredible journey through time, with papers dating back to 1690. Imagine exploring the news, events, and everyday moments that shape the history of the world around us. Newspapers.com puts over 900 million pages at your fingertips, offering a front row seat to the past. With papers from the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and beyond, newspapers.com lets you walk the streets of history, whether it's London during the Blitz, New York during Prohibition, or Sydney during the construction of the Harbor Bridge. For listeners of this episode, newspapers.com is extending a special offer. Use code EVERYTHINGEVERYWHERE and enjoy a 20% discount on a subscription. That's Everything Everywhere at newspapers.com. It's the perfect way to unlock the world of history. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. This week, the money line for the Packers vs. 49ers game is plus 340 Packers. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code EVERYTHING. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code EVERYTHING. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
There are certain milestones in running that have become famous because they correspond to nice round numbers. The 4-minute mile is perhaps the most famous. It became international news in 1954 when 25-year-old Englishman Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Likewise, the 10-second 100-meter dash was a barrier that took decades to break until American Jim Hines did it in 1968. It still remains the level at which someone is considered a world-class sprinter. One of the last great time barriers was the 2-hour marathon. The world record time in the marathon has dropped considerably over the last 100 years, and it's one of the few events which has seen considerable world record progression in the last 20 years. In most track and field events, there has been a serious lack of advancement in world records. In the year 2000, the world record stood at 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 38 seconds. Since then, it has gone down 8 times. In 2014, Kenya's Dennis Kimetto set a world record at the Berlin Marathon at 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 57 seconds. This world record took 26 seconds off the world record set the previous year, which was a big leap in time. 4 years later, at the 2018 Berlin Marathon, Eliud Kipchoge crushed the world record when he put up a time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 39 seconds, taking a full minute and 18 seconds off the record. Perhaps even more importantly, the 2-hour barrier was looking to be within striking distance. Physiologists had published papers on what the fastest theoretical time could be in the marathon, and most agreed that a 2-hour marathon was well within the range of possibility. Many companies and fans of running had a great deal of interest to see if this could be done. Here I should explain the difference between a world record time and a world best. The sanctioning body for track and field is World Athletics, formerly the IAAF, or the International Amateur Athletic Federation. They set the rules for the sport and keep the records. For something to be considered a world record to them, it had to have occurred during a competitive race under conditions that meet their rules. This would include most major world marathons, the Olympics, and track meets. This is very different than a Guinness Book of World Records type of record, which really doesn't care about the rules in competitive races. They just want to know if someone was able to run a distance in a particular time. That's considered a world best. In 2017, Nike launched the Breaking 2 project. Their goal was to see if a human could run a 2-hour marathon. It would not be done under race conditions and would not be eligible for a World Athletics world record. The goal was to see if it could be done at all when conditions were perfect. They recruited 3 world-class marathon runners for the attempt: Eliud Kipchoge from Kenya, Lelisa Desisa from Ethiopia, and Zersane Tedesse from Eritrea. The event took place on May 6, 2017, on an automobile racetrack outside of Milan. For the attempt, they had a pace car that projected a green laser onto the ground for the runners, a big clock on the back of the car, and runners who would draft for them to reduce wind resistance. They also had the runners wear the new ultra-engineered Nike Vaporfly Elite shoe, which was supposed to be the best long-distance running shoe in the world. The attempt didn't quite work. Kipchoge finished in 2 hours, 25 seconds, the best time ever at that distance, but not quite under 2 hours. The next attempt was in 2019. Ineos, a UK chemical company, sponsored the attempt called the Ineos 159 Challenge. This time, the only competitor would be Kipchoge. The attempt was similar to what was attempted 2 years earlier in Milan, but with some changes. There was again a pace car with a projected laser behind it. This was to ensure that there was no unnecessary acceleration and that Kipchoge was on time. There were 41 pace setters that swapped in and out. They would run in a V-shaped formation ahead of him to reduce drag. All of the pace setters were accomplished long or middle distance runners. A track was set up in Vienna's Prater Park. A full lap of the track was 4.3 kilometers or 2.7 miles. The track was surrounded by trees to minimize wind. His shoes were a newer Nike Vaporfly Next Percent, which was supposed to increase performance by 4%. Hydration during the race was done by people on bicycles who delivered water to him instead of a normal hydration table. Finally, the temperature at the start was a perfect 9 Celsius or 48 Fahrenheit, which is exactly what you want for a heat-producing marathon runner. This was several degrees cooler than the 2017 attempt. Also, for this attempt, the public was allowed to attend, whereas in Milan, the course was closed. Eliud said he missed having spectators. On October 12, 2019, at 8:15 a.m. local time in Vienna, the attempt began. 1 hour, 59 minutes, 40.2 seconds later, Eliud Kipchoge crossed the finish line, becoming the first person ever to run the distance of a marathon in under 2 hours. As noted above, this is not an official World Athletics record, but he was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as being the first person ever to run a marathon distance in less than 2 hours. There is a lot about this attempt which cannot be replicated in an actual competition, but that wasn't the point. The point was to show that it could be done. Just weeks after Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, other people began running sub-4-minute miles. Once it became known that it was possible, more people began doing it. It is possible we might see this too at the marathon. Unfortunately, since Kipchoge's run, most major marathons have been canceled due to COVID-19, so we'll have to wait until 2021 to see if official records are broken. Kipchoge's average speed during the record attempt was 13.16 miles per hour or 21.18 kilometers per hour. To put this into perspective, the next time you are at a gym with a treadmill, try running at this speed for any length of time. The vast majority of people listening to this will not be able to run at that speed for 1 minute, and most probably might not even be able to do it for 10 seconds. Kipchoge ran the equivalent of a 17-second 100-meter dash 422 times in a row without resting. He would have won most high school 1600-meter races with just his average speed. Even though it wasn't done under competitive conditions, Kipchoge's accomplishment of running a 2-hour marathon has to go down as one of the greatest physical feats in human history.
The update for this episode, believe it or not, has nothing to do with Eliud Kipchoge. It has to do with the fact that both the men's and women's official world record in the marathon were recently set. And in fact, they were both smashed. On October 8, 2023, Kenyan runner Kelvin Kiptum set the men's world record at the Chicago Marathon by running in 2 hours and 35 seconds. This took a full 34 seconds off of Eliud Kipchoge's previous world record time, and now appears to be in striking distance of the 2-hour marathon mark under normal race conditions. On September 24, 2023, Tigist Assefa of Ethiopia won the Berlin Marathon in 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 53 seconds. She beat the previous women's world record by 2 minutes and 11 seconds. What do both of these records have in common? Shoes. Kiptum set his world record wearing the new Nike Alpha Fly 3, which coincidentally sold out just 2 minutes after he set the record. Assefa set her record wearing the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro Evo 1, which has a similar design to the Nike shoes. The 4% increase in performance appears to be quite real, and 4% of 2 hours is pretty close to 5 minutes. It appears we're only just at the beginning of this revolution in long-distance running shoes, and a real competitive 2-hour marathon might occur at any time.